Hi, welcome to the Gear Garage. My name is Zach Collier and this is my internet show about basically whitewater paddling, whitewater gear, and things that I like. And today I want to talk about catarafts. I do a lot of catarafting and I really enjoy it. I really like the 12-foot cataraft right now. It's really great for like class 5 trips. You could do a class 5 overnight, you know, with minimal gear. You wouldn't want a lot of stuff, but if you were doing something like the Middle Fork of the Feather or the Forks of the Current in California, this is the kind of boat I'm paddling right now. It's also good for doing day trips on things like the Wind, North Fork of the Payette, Cherry Creek, that kind of thing where you're doing steep runs and big class 5 rapids where you need a good boat that you can maneuver and it's pretty technical. Now you could probably run things like the Foodalafoo or the Zambezi or some big water thing like the Grand Canyon in this boat, but it would be really pushy. For those kind of class 5 runs, you typically want like a bigger 16, 18-foot boat. But these 12-foot boats are really where it's at right now, and there's some great designs out. The 3 main companies making them are AIRE, Sotar, and Maravia. They're all good companies. They're all U.S. based, made in the U.S. boats, and they do a really good job. And all 3 of them are really good. And that's the AIRE Wave Destroyer, the Sitar Legend, and the Maravia. I don't think the Maravia has a name. It's just the Maravia. But I want to show some video of each, and then kind of talk about the advantages of each at the end. So here's some video from the Wind River today, and this is the Maravia Cat. I really like the colors. First of all, they're just cool looking boats, and this is a really good design. The Maravia has a lot of rocker and a short water line, so it's very maneuverable. It spins on a dime, but also that can be a disadvantage. You know, you lose tracking, you lose speed, and maybe it's not always the best boat if you want to hold your line. The next is this one. This is the AIRE Wave Destroyer. It has a bit of rocker too, but not as much. And those big blunt ends. And those big blunt ends go over drops really nice. Michael just power through this drop nicely. The internet says, on their webpage, it says these are 22-inch tubes, which is the same as the Maravia. But I'm pretty sure these are 23 or 24-inch tubes. These are big tubes, which isn't a bad thing. They're actually kind of nice. They're worth trying out at least. But I don't think they're the same size tubes as these other boats. This is a Sitar Legend, which is a classic design. They kind of invented this category, you know, the upturned nose category. This one's actually a 13-foot. I was running an 11-foot today. I just don't video myself. But a really classic design. It has a long water line. It ferries really nicely. It keeps its angle. You know, this is just a solid boat. It doesn't spin as fast as the other boats, but it definitely keeps its line, which is nice. The Sotars are made of urethane. And then this is another Maravia. This is a foot longer than that last one. Greg has a prototype boat here, and it runs really beautifully. Again, I'm really a fan of the 12-foot boats right now, but these boats are doing a really good job. Yeah, nice runs, guys. Here's Mike on the Wave Destroyer. This is balls to the walls right on the Wind River, and again, this boat is really maneuverable. It can power through holes nicely. You can even head sideways. Those big tubes are really forgiving. And there's a nice hole here at the bottom. He's just going to line up and go through it no problem. Again, those big upturned bow, the bow on that, it really powers through drops and holes nicely. Again, here's that 13-foot Maravia. It's a sweet boat. And the one cool thing about Maravia, not only are the colors cool, but they can do their dream boat thing where they can do any design is amazing. And Greg's going to get further left and miss the hole, and you'll see there's plenty of upturn on the bow to get through anything. So here's Brent on the 12-foot Maravia. I paddled this boat for a while last year. I really liked it. It surfs great. It's really maneuverable, but it gets tossed around a lot. Like he can't really keep an angle because there's so much rocker. And that's probably why his line came off here. The one thing too is the Maravia, it's urethane coated, so it gets stuck more. It's sticky on rocks like that. The Sotar probably would have just plowed over that because the urethane fabric will slide over a rock a little bit nicer. With the Maravia, urethane coating tends to stick. So if you're hitting rocks a lot, Sotar is the way to go. I like using rocks, so I'm a big fan of the Sotar. And these are 2 Sotar boats coming down through. And these are both 13s too. They're pretty big boats. These guys are having nice lines. They're not as maneuverable, but they power through this stuff really nicely. So those are some of the different boats. You know, they're all good boats, and you're not going to go wrong with any of them. but each of them has some advantages, and I kind of want to go through those really quick. The Sotar, first of all, it's just lighter. It's just urethane fabric. It's the lightest set of tubes. So if you have a hard time carrying boats and you're doing it by yourself, that's a consideration. Also portages. Portages with a cap boat are rough. So if you're doing runs where you need a portage, man, the Sotar is pretty nice for that. And I do that often. They also slide over rocks better. Of all of them, if you're hitting rocks, if you're doing boof moves, doing things where you're using rocks a lot, or you're doing really tight creeks, the Sotar is probably the best boat for that. It's really the best fabric. The other boats do slide over, but not like the Sotar. And again, I just like the design. That classic Legend design, they really got it right to begin with. So I really like the boat tracking. In my style of boating, I like to set up and get my angle right early and then make the move. And you know, if you have to make an angle change at the last minute, those other boats are nice. But the Sotar, once you have your line, it keeps its line because of that water line. The Maravia, it's also a great boat. My favorite thing about it is surfing. It surfs better than the other ones because it has so much rocker. It gets on a wave and it's really fun to surf. Also, the Maravia construction process is bomber. I mean, they really are very well made boats. It's PVC material coated in urethane, and those D-rings are on solid. They have a long life, and they're very, very well made. And I would say the best manufactured boat. You know, the downside is they're heavier. They're a bit heavy. They do get stuck on rocks, and they don't roll very well. It's a struggle rolling them, but very, very well made. And last is the AIRE. The AIRE boat, that big upturned nose is really nice if you're running rivers with a lot of big drops or big hydraulics. Nobody's done that yet, and they kind of innovated with that big upturned nose. I'm not a big fan of it because I don't worry too much about holes where I boat. And we have a lot of logs, so because of the extra height from that upturned nose, you might run into a log that you can maybe duck under otherwise. Or with portages, it makes it just more boat to move around. But again, if you're not worrying about that, it's a really nice boat for punching through holes. I also really like AIRE as a company. They back up the product. They have a 10-year warranty. You know that's a well-made boat, and you know they're going to back it up for a while. So, but again, they're all good boats, and I've rode them all, and I've enjoyed them all for different reasons. And I'm sure you have comments or thoughts if you tried them out. So please, if you do, add some comments down below in the comments section. Start a discussion. If I made a mistake or said something wrong or you disagree with, just let me know, man. I love learning from these discussions, and so I really encourage you to leave a comment. And I'll leave links in the section below about each of these boats so you can go right to them. I'm not sure if Sotar has on the website, but I'll try to find it. The 11.5 foot boat that I like, but I'll put a link to the Legend. And that's all I have. Thanks for joining me.